All right, so what we've done is we've backtracked yet again. And so we're kind of in the middle of the yard again. The station would have been just over here. You can see these couple of sheds here. I'm guessing there would have been tool sheds. The modern bunkhouse is over there. So where we are here is basically on somewhere in this neighborhood would have been this track that would have come in and worked its way this way past the coal tower, the water tank, and eventually making its way up to the turntable and the roundhouse. So I don't know exactly how it cut off. Again, it's really difficult to see because things have changed so much. According to a map, so again, if you click on the link in the description, you're going to see a 1926 map. You'll also see the 1914 map. And so maybe I'll flash that up. So you basically have this track that comes across here. Now, that 1926 map shows that there was basically a track that swung behind the coal tower. I don't know if that's this and it became part of this road here, but definitely there's another, and I'll point it out here, there's another track that runs right in front of the coal tower. So we'll kind of make our way this way. Again, it's hard to see because there's like gravel, there's that sort of pit run gravel all over the place. This definitely would have been, you can kind of see this sort of straight shot here. This would have been certainly part of it. And right here somewhere is where the track would have come off that runs to the coal tower. And so it's just right there in the brush, and we're gonna take a look at that as well. We're gonna look at that once we get basically right in line with the coal tower. And so we come across here again, you can see that coal tower track. And there's definitely, you can see there's gravel and everything all over the place here. So, and it's black here. So you'll notice the ground is all black. This is all definitely coal that's been spilled here and kind of ground down over the years. I've seen a few coaling locations know that. And so over here you'll notice that there is some metal. And so what we're going to do is the coal tower is, or what's left of it is just in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in there and kind of take a look at that. All right, so we're here just north of the grade, which is way over there, just on the other side of those little shacks, those little buildings that you see here. Right in front of us here, and we just kind of went by this. This is this track that runs up past the coal tower and the water tower, and then eventually ends up in the turntable. So what we're going to do here is we're going to be exploring this track that runs up to the coaling tower. Here you can see some of the evidence of that. You'll see spots where the ground is all kind of black, obviously spilled coal over many years. What's kind of interesting here is I do have a map, and I'm not going to put it up. I do have it on my website, and it's supposed to show Jellicoe in 1926. And what's interesting about it is some of the stuff that we're going to take a look at, it shows it on sort of sandwiched in between this track and the track running behind it. To me, this track kind of runs south of it, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that other track. So we're going to make our way along this approach track here that runs to the runs to the coal tower. It's not too bad in here. There's not a lot of underbrush, so it's not terribly difficult to kind of walk along. There's an old stubby bottle. That one's interesting, it's green. So here's the track itself. And like I said, it's not too bad to walk on because there's not a lot of underbrush. So you can kind of sort of maneuver quite freely. We got a great day today. There's it's kind of bright overcast. So we don't get a lot of shadows and things like that, but it's still fairly bright enough that we get enough light here in kind of this forested area. So you can kind of make out where this track would have been. You can kind of see a little bit of a depression or a ditch on the north side. And then you can kind of see one on the south side over here. Becomes a little more pronounced over here. Lots of debris, buckets, and showed you the bottle. There's a big oil drum there. It's a piece of a tie. All right, so this is where the action starts here. So what we have here is, you can see that right there's the track over there that's running to the turntable. So here you can see all of this debris. You can see there's pieces of metal. You can see there's pieces of wood. I have to be careful here because, like, here there's nails that are sticking out. But you can see all of this metal, and you can almost see like there's this depression in the ground, and it's kind of got wood that's lining it. And we're going to come back and take a look at this. Anyway, we're going to come back up here because here is the main thing that we were going to take a look at in this spot, which is the coal tower, or as some people know, the coal chute. And so basically here you can see it. There's a concrete foundation. So you can see this concrete foundation. You can see remains of kind of the upright part here. You can see big timber with bolts attached to it. And here's another one. So I'm guessing this would have been on another piece. You can see more of that strapping here coming up. You can see that there's a couple of almost like feet here, or pads. And they have little bolts in the middle, little dowels. And then here you can see this side, so the eastern side. And again, you can see all this kind of metal strapping that would have once been attached to it. And then here you can see there's a big sort of piece of metal. Here you can see yet another one of these, or two of these big sort of timbers with the metal strapping on them. And then here, there's this big metal lid. And then here you can see the inner workings here of the coal tower. There's coal all over the place here. And here you can see, look at all the coal, all the black. And so you can see the inner workings here. There's pipes coming up. There's more concrete. So this is what have been all concrete. You can see all these timbers that sort of line the sides, obviously part of the structure itself. Here you can see some metal pins, yet more coal. Just kind of work our way around here. The wood kind of extends this way here. So it was sort of a very sizable structure. Now, I mentioned earlier that the map that I have, there's a 1926 map. And what it does is it basically shows that track over here. It shows a track on the back side. But the problem is there's a road there, but I don't really see anywhere that there could have been a track here other than that road. Because it just doesn't, unless it was up on here, but this doesn't look right either. This is all kind of, there's a big hole there. It could have been something coming up on here, but for sure there was a track that was down there. And so again, just looking at this site a little bit more. So this is, as far as I know, this is the only sort of decently preserved coaling facility on this line. There is the remains of the coaling tower in Nipigon, and I'll put a link to that. You can have a look at that, but it's nowhere near like this. You just basically see parts of the concrete foundation. So essentially there were 3 coaling facilities on this line. So again, this line basically ran from Jellicoe to Port Arthur, which is Thunder Bay today. And so the halfway point would have been Nipigon. So Nipigon would have had the coaling facilities. And so over here, we make our way this way. we have more stuff over here. So you can see these couple of pads that are here, these concrete pads. Well, there's more of it here. There's another pad here, and it looks like another piece of pad there. And then here we have the remains of some sort of structure. You can see there's a concrete pad, and then there's like a brick wall. Now, on that 1926 map, what it shows this as is it basically shows, and if you click on the link in the description, you'll be able to see that. So that map shows coal tower, sand house, and then it lists something called a check-in house, or I'll have to put it up on the screen. I can't remember what it says. But basically, maybe this is the sand house. Again, you can see all the little bricks scattered all over the place here. I don't know if this big sort of hump was here at the time. And then over here, there's a lot of debris here. There's, I don't know if that's a timber or if that's a piece of spike. Sorry, a timber or a tie, and there's a spike in there. There's a piece of brick there. Over here, there's this object. I have no idea what this is. And see, there's a depression here. There's looks like there would have been maybe something here. I don't know. So you can basically see this thing. I don't know what this thing is. It's this big sort of cast iron thing sitting in the ground. I don't know if it was something for water, because the water tank that's over there, and we're going to be taking a look at the water tank, it was fed by a pump that pumps water out of Noble Lake. And we did see, and you're going to see this in part of the video, one of the next segments, you're going to see that there was, where I think there was a bunkhouse, you're basically going to see there's like a pipe sticking up out of the ground. So maybe there was kind of pressurized water that was pumping through this area, because you can see here there's threads, and it looks like there's water inside. So maybe it's some sort of cistern or something. I don't know. All right, so if we come back this way, now, this is kind of another mystery here, and I don't have an answer to this. So I pointed out before this depression that we have here. Go back over here. And so I had gone down, and I told you about this, you know, this depression here that's all kind of lined with timber, and there's kind of metal. So you can see this sort of depression that's in the ground. I don't know if this was some sort of... this is some sort of track, like trains would have gone into this. You can kind of see it back here. So this is where we first took a look at it. So you got to be careful, there's metal all over the place. So you can see it kind of comes down like this. And it keeps going over here. And over here, it widens out. And so you can see in here, there's all kinds of stuff. Like now there's pieces of concrete. I'm going to carefully work my way down here. There's all kinds of metal that's in here. And you can see, so on this side, there's wood. And there's concrete here. But here you can see there's a concrete foundation. So you can see this concrete foundation. And you can see there's reinforcing steel in it. Again, the great things about hiking in the springtime, you wouldn't be able to see this any other time. And so you can see it continues here, and you can see all of the timbers and stuff that are in here. So again, this looks like some sort of foundation. You can see here this is all metal. So you can see that, I don't know what this was for here. There's one here as well. You can see that there's sort of bolts sticking out of it. It's a big chunk of metal that's kind of driven into the ground here. You can see more of this concrete with the reinforcing steel. You can see more pieces of concrete in here. Lots of wood. This big metal thing. Here's the big sort of mystery. So here, and you can see the concrete continues over there. Here, you can actually see that there's rungs built into this. So I don't know if this was some sort of pit. You know, like I said, on that 1926 map, it essentially lists coal tower, sand house, and then it says check-in house or book-in house. And so is this some sort of maintenance facility, or, you know, something that we would have backed the locomotive into and been able to kind of work around it or something? Like, I mean, that tells me that looks a lot like it's a ladder, rungs to get somebody out of somewhere. Just trying to dig down and see if there's all kinds of wire here. I just want to see if there's maybe another rung to this ladder. I don't know, I can't dig down far enough. But again, that looks a lot like some sort of ladder or something. You can see it's all deteriorated. Again, remember that Jellicoe was a divisional point. And you would imagine that, here we can kind of get a bit of a wide angle view of this, that there must have been some sort of facilities to repair things, I'm guessing, and I don't know if this was it, but you can kind of see the extent of it here. You know, it's pretty wide and it's pretty deep, and I would imagine there's a lot of stuff in here. You know, it's almost like there's two sections here. Like there's a deeper section there in the middle, and this section here is a little higher, right, where this kind of this concrete foundation is here. So I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to hop back up on the grade, and we're going to make our way a little bit further to the west, and we're going to stop and take a look at the coaling tower and then get to the turntable.